What's up, everyone? Marc Lobliner, CEO, MTS Nutrition, Chief Marketing Officer, tigerfitness.com, creator of the Outright Bar, partner in Ambrosia, and IFBB Pro. Before we move any further, I want you to subscribe to my new channel, youtube.com/Lobliner. The Lobliner Lowdown, we will be vlogging my entire prep to the Chicago Pro with training as well as interviews. We have a new interview up with Brandon Curry. We've had Phil Heath. We've had Guy Cisternino, Jose Raymond, and more coming literally every single week. But new videos up just about daily. So check it out. I want to tell you guys about what's going on with creatine. I've done videos on supply chain before and what's going on, but we had a thread, believe it or not, on Twitter about what's going on with supply chain. And there was a comment that caught my attention. Basically, it's that the suppliers are gouging the pricing. And if you stop buying the creatine, then prices will go down, supply and demand. That's kind of correct, except for the whole gouging spot. Look, I am paying more for creatine now than I used to sell it for. In fact, probably double. Now, I hate raising prices. If I can I'm actually making way less margin now. So how are we keeping it in stock? Well, we have existing contracts with the makers of Creapure, all right? Creapure is by Allschem, which is from Germany. So why did creatine dry up in the first place? I think it's very relevant for us to go over the reasons why and how long it's going to take to get it back. I currently have creatine in stock. I have the Creapure, the German creatine. I also have a new 015 nutrition creatine, which is not German, but it is tested and it's basically the same thing. Okay, but people like the assurance of the German creatine. Allschem is the best. Creatine has the most testing. It's what the studies were done on, but you can get a generic creatine, which we will have available in the next couple weeks under 015 nutrition. That'll be just about fine. So I do have creatine in stock, and the reason I do is because I have contracts in place from before this shortage happened. And those contracts are all that are available. Allschem is not accepting any new customers until, I believe, 2024. So what happened here? Well, it all comes down to China. Like it or not, America this, America that, this microphone, that camera, this recorder over here, most of these components, or at least a large part of the components of these equipment, are made in China. Likewise, for your supplements, a lot of ingredients are made in China. Now, China, while it does have an underside, if you test things coming in and going out of your lab before making it, Chinese stuff is usually just as good or better than stuff from other places in the world. It just is what it is. I've tested material from India, from China, from America, from South America. I've been in this business over 20 years. Chinese ingredients can be some of the highest quality. Now, like anything, like some of these backwoods underground brands that spike their products and these research chemicals and these SARMs and whatever, yeah, you're going to have quality issues in any industry. But for the most part, the quality of the ingredients I've tested personally, and it might be different for others, out of China, a lot of times they're U.S. companies with facilities in China, for obvious reasons. One is labor and cost. So why do we do business with China? Why does anyone do business with China? You have to. A lot of these materials aren't available domestically. And if they were, they would be beyond a price that anyone, including the end consumer, would be willing to pay. So where does that leave us? What happened is the Olympics. For the Olympics, they wanted to make sure the air didn't look like, well, basically Los Angeles on a smoggy day. China's air, you could literally cut through with a butter knife before the Olympics happened. So they shut down a lot of the high pollution causing factories. A lot of those factories did produce a lot of things you see in the dietary supplement industry. One of those being creatine. Now, me, in 90% of my products, there are 10%. I own multiple brands. I use only German creatine, Creapure from Allschem. However, when China shut down their creatine factories, what happened is all the people buying Chinese creatine were like, oh, I need to spend more and get this German creatine. So they did that. Everybody went to Germany at the same time. Allschem was sold out. So the immediate reaction to those who don't understand how supply chain works is, why don't they just make more creatine in Germany? The answer is, that's great. We need the raw materials. We need to have the facility. They need the manufacturing plant. So Allschem is doing the best job they can to build more facilities, but that's 2 to 3 years out. You got to get the reactors in there. Whatever it takes to make creatine, they got to have a building. They got to have employees. So there's where the shortage happened. Now we're seeing that in other Chinese produced materials. Citrulline, huge shortage. Caffeine, there was an issue. Pricing has gone through the roof. Also shipping. I don't know if y'all have seen, there's a gas issue going on. So from getting things over here to getting them within the borders, you're paying more per unit sold because oil is so high. Also, you know, this bottle is a PET bottle. You know what that's made out of? Petroleum. So basically, the more this administration does, shutting down pipelines, all that stuff, the more they do to hinder our domestic economy, the more you're going to see issues in your price of food, your price of goods, and of course, your price of dietary supplements. So everything from getting the container to China over here to the actual plant producing the ingredients that go in the container that come over here. Containers, to get a container here from China, you're looking at a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times increase in cost to get it over here. It's absurd. So the bottom line is, when will this fix itself? I see there being a correction, not because of the election. Because a lot of people are like, new president 2024. No, that's when we vote a guy in. Like, it's not going to fix itself immediately. 2024 is when Allschem should be caught up. There should be more plants. China will be back to polluting the earth and making good creatine again. And we'll be back in a good spot. You're looking at a good 2 to 3 years of price increases. And you're looking at huge increase with the price of whey, because global consumption of whey is high. That means it's hard for us to get it. Let me put it this way. I'm just going to throw out numbers. So these aren't legit numbers, but this is the scale. This is the scale we're at. Let's say I used to pay $32 for a 5-pounder of whey. That cost for me now is around $52. I'm not playing. So if we're going to see an increase, we still have mortgages to pay on the buildings we own. Like we own our warehouse in Ohio, right? We have employees, we have overhead. So yeah, we need to scale our prices up. And while I will guarantee you this, the margins we make at Tiger Fitness are the lowest they've ever been. We've absorbed as much of the cost as we possibly can. But just know that there's not some big conspiracy to rip you guys off and get rich. We're hurting too. Our first quarter of the year, our gross profits and net profits were down dramatically. And that's because we're absorbing a lot of the costs. But you know what? I think it's fair that if you're taking a hit, we should take a hit too. Anyway, guys, that's the reason we have a shortage of creatine. Anybody who tells you otherwise or says there's some vast conspiracy is lying or is ignorant / misinformed. Hopefully this helped you. By the way, I own tigerfitness.com. I'd appreciate it if you check out tigerfitness.com. If you do want some great creatine, we do have this in stock right now. This is MTS Nutrition Creapure Creatine, the best German creatine you could buy. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and share it with your friends. A lot of people want to know what the fuck's going on. I'm Marc Lobliner. That's not a game. So the great thing about supplements and data is it keeps growing and expanding. We keep finding out new stuff. The good news is the stuff we're finding out is awesome. Machine Motion, the greatest joint care formula ever created, containing Cissus quadrangularis, curcumin, bromelain, sodium hyaluronate. I can never pronounce that. Tamiflex, I'll get into that, and Bioprene. Now check it out. There's new data on Tamiflex that not only does this work, a lot of people say, well, how fast does it work? Check it out. In new data, this product will work in as little as 5 days. That means joint pain alleviation in as little as 5 days. If you're looking for the perfect joint care product, Machine Motion, in stock now at tigerfitness.com.